everyone, you're watching Campus France Live. Thanks a lot to be there with us. Today we're going to talk about higher education in France and to discover a French university, Université Paris-Dauphine-PSL. To talk about the university, I'm very pleased to welcome Sébastien Damar. Hello.
Hello, Guillaume.
Thanks a lot to be there with us. And we are also with students abroad, Larissa, Ninon and Grégoire. You can ask all the questions that you have about the school, about the different classes, about the different licence bachelor that Dauphine offer. We will answer all of your questions. But let's begin with a really easy question for you, Sébastien Damar. Can you introduce yourself in a few words?
Yes, my name is Sébastien Damar and I'm a teacher. I'm 48 years old and I'm a teacher and a researcher in management at Paris-Dauphine University, PSL. And I'm also the vice president for education and student life at the university.
And can you tell us a few words about the Université Paris-Dauphine PSL? What is the DNA, for instance, the concept of the university?
Yes, the Paris-Dauphine PSL University is a French public university. It has been founded at the end of the 60s. It has the status of what we call in France the Grande École status. And it has been founded on a completely new concept in the 60s. Just imagine you bring together at the heart of the same university researchers, students, teachers that are interesting about the same object, which is the decision making. And different disciplines, mathematics, computer science, law, economics, management, social sciences, and journalism, even a little bit later, which are mobilized to train some students and try to make them become experts and very informed critical decision makers.
And the university is well known for its Parisian campus, but is the university also present abroad?
Yes, of course. The Parisian campus is the core campus of our university, of course. But the university and this campus is well located. It is in Paris. It is just a few minutes by walk from the Arc de Triomphe. So it is ideally located in Paris. But there are also two other campuses. The first one is in Tunis, in Tunisia. It has been founded, it was in 2009, and the other one is located in London. It has been founded in 2015. And there are also two other locations which are not campuses but which are deep partnerships with foreign universities. The first one is in Frankfurt and the other one is in Madrid.
Okay, and what are the different bachelor's degree in English that you offer at Université Paris-Dauphine PSL?
Well, basically in Paris-Dauphine University, PSL University, on the Parisian campus, there are three main bachelor's degrees. The first one is about organizational science. The other one is about mathematics and computer science. And there is also another one which has opened in September 2022, which is a double bachelor's degrees on artificial intelligence and organizational science, which is something completely new. These three bachelor's degrees are internationally recognized, and if you want to follow one full English bachelor, especially in organizational science, there is one on the London campus, which is completely full English.
And what is it about, this bachelor?
Well, this bachelor is about all that could be taught about how organizations works. That means, of course, management. That means, of course, accounting. That means economics. Of course, that means all you need to conduct some businesses are taught on the in this bachelor, and it is constructed in 3 years. The last one is a year in which the students have the possibility to specialize themselves about law, about social sciences, about management, or about economics, applied economics. So it's the basic format about the bachelor. It is the same for the bachelor in mathematics and computer science. The last of the 3 years is dedicated to the specialization of the students.
So if the students want to follow a fully English program, it's the one in London. Otherwise, the programs are mainly in French?
Yes, mainly in French. We have some master's degrees that are totally taught in English, especially in finance, for instance. And also you have some courses in the different bachelors and the different masters that are also in English. But if you want to have a full bachelor in English, it's mainly in London.
And it's interesting because you talked about the different master's degree, because the idea when you begin to study at Université Paris-Dauphine-PSL is to end your study there with a master's degree, and there are plenty of them.
Yeah. You're completely right. The Dauphine model is about a Dauphine, a cursus in 5 years. That means you come at Dauphine for the first year of your bachelor, and you leave Dauphine at the end of the second year of your master. Of course, you can stay if you want to follow with a PhD or doctorate, of course. But that means that we want students to be totally taught, totally integrated in Dauphine for 5 years. Yeah.
What are the international recognitions of the diplomas?
Well, we are just working with following the LMD system. So that means all our degrees, all our bachelors, all our masters are completely internationally recognized, and especially in Europe, of course. So that means you have the possibility to get some benefits, to get your degree in Dauphine. You have the possibility to continue your studies abroad, of course, and you will do so with your Dauphine diplomas in your pocket that are fully internationally recognized, and that means you have the possibility to go on the labor market outside the country, of course.
And what are the different internships opportunities that you offer during the bachelor?
Well, during the bachelor, you have the students have the obligation to have one internship for about 5 months, and it's during the 2 first years, and of course we give some help to students to find their internship. We have what we call a career center, on which we have the possibility to get some job offers, some internship opportunities. It's really a tool that is dedicated to the help of our students about the professional insertion.
And there is another important topic for the students when they want to choose their school on the right school, is the international part and the different international opportunities. How is it possible at Dauphine to go abroad, to study abroad, or to have an international, intercultural experience?
When you are a student at the bachelor in Dauphine, you have, average talking, 75% of students will go outside, will study part of their studies outside for 1 semester, for example. So that means you get a lot of opportunities during the bachelor. We have 200 partnerships with universities all around the world, especially in Europe, especially in North America, for example. So a lot of opportunities, 24 double degrees after the bachelor, with foreign universities also. So a lot of opportunities to study abroad when you are at the Paris-Dauphine-PSL University.
Let's have a few words about pedagogy. How are the different classes organized? What is the philosophy behind your pedagogy? How do you study at Université Paris-Dauphine-PSL?
Well, it's part of the DNA of our university. This question of pedagogy. We want to give a human size to the way we teach students. That means we prefer them to go in small groups. That is no more than 30 students per group, for example. We want to be sure that we maximize the interaction between the students and their teachers, their professors. And that's part of our philosophy. Of course, we have some of our courses are taught in great room, something like 600 students, for example. But it's not the main way we teach the students, and we are we are deeply sure that it is the way for the students to become decision makers, which are open, which are able to discuss, which are about to participate to debates.
That means that during the different years that they're going to spend at Université Paris-Dauphine-PSL, they're going to have a lot of practical projects, group projects to do in order to graduate.
Yes, a lot. In French, we call that mettre les mains dans le cambouis. That means we want to be sure that students will be in the making. And so that means in the making, that means we involve them in some kind of transverse projects. For example, we have partnerships with a lot of companies, and they offer the possibility to participate to hackathons, for example, challenges, and that's a way for the students to apply very, very quickly what they have taught during the course. So that's a great opportunity for the students. And connected to that, just saying that we have a lot of partnerships with large size companies, for example, which is something that enables us to organize this kind of challenges, hackathon, and so on.
You're a student in London. Can you tell us a little bit about your background? What did you do before joining the London campus? And what is it like to be a student at Université Paris-Dauphine-PSL in London?
So I'm a second-year student. I'm French, but I have also lived in the UK for 4 years, from the age of 10 to 14. So I studied at the Lycée Français in London. So I've always wanted to come back to London to study after high school. And I found that Dauphine offered a diploma in London, which was really exciting for me because it combined both of the things I wanted to do. I wanted to study economics and go abroad, especially to London. And the London campus is a quite unique place in the sense that there is not many students there. It's very international, but at the same time, it remains French because the people there are partially French, partially international. The lecturers are very international. So it's quite a unique experience for a French uni. It's something that you don't really see, I think, except for the campuses abroad you can find at Dauphine.
And for how long are you planning to stay at this campus in London?
So the initial diploma is 2 years, which was initially what I wanted to do. But I mean, I'm always open to a third year. I think you need to specialize yourself in, you need to have the management specialization. So if I do that, there may be a chance for me to stay. Depends on what I find during the rest of my year and what I enjoy the most, I think. But the city of London is always going to be an attraction.
And after that, you have the opportunity to go back to France to keep on studying for the master's degree?
Yes, I mean, exactly the same diploma as the one you'd find in France. So you do the 3 years of bachelor's and then you go for your master's, whether it be in Dauphine or anywhere else. But I think you have a direct path from Dauphine London into Dauphine Paris for either the 3rd year or the master's.
What are the different classes that you can follow? You're in 2nd year, so let's go back in the past. When you arrived in the campus, what were the different classes that you had the opportunity to follow?
Actually quite surprised because as opposed to what I would find in high school, there was quite a big diversity of lectures that we had. It ranged from classes in advice to economics classes, so microeconomics, macroeconomics. We had some statistics, we had some maths, we had some law, we had some coding. So it was quite a broad degree, and we had the opportunity to see quite a lot of things. And yeah, it's quite good, especially since it helps you to know what you'd like to do more in the future. Because I mean, if you see a lot of things, then you're going to have a quite clear idea of the path you want to follow.
You're a student in 2nd year in Madrid. Can you tell us a few words about your background and why you decided to go and study at Madrid?
Yeah, so before coming to Madrid, I knew already a bit of Spanish and English. I had lived a year in Minnesota in the US, and then when I was in second, I did an exchange for 3 months in Argentina. So, and during my high school, I was in OIB section, so it was a International English American diploma, which is just an option in the baccalaureate. And then now in Madrid, all my classes are either in Spanish or in English.
And in which languages are your different classes taught?
In Spanish and in English. I only have one class in French, which is soft skills and employability, which is a class that we have the opportunity to have with a coach who helps us develop our soft skills.
And it's the same program that you're following that the other students in other campuses in other countries, or do you have some specificity to the fact of being a student in Madrid?
Well, no, because we're still from Paris-Dauphine, even though we are in Madrid, which means that we have teachers from La Carlos Acero, which is the university where we study in Madrid. But the courses that we follow are exactly the same as the one in Paris-Dauphine, but we have the advantages to have it in 2 different languages.
The idea is that it allows you to have an international experience just after graduating from high school.
And it's such an opportunity.
Larissa, same question for you. What was your background before joining Université Paris-Dauphine-PSL?
So I'm German and I attended a German high school before I moved to Paris in 2020. And so I joined a German-French double degree at Dauphine and Frankfurt. And it's a 3 years program, and I'm currently in my 3rd year of studies, and so I will spend half the time in Germany and half the time in France at Dauphine.
And what are the specificities of this program? We can imagine that you have both classes taught in French, both classes taught in English, and classes taught in German.
Know that we will spend 2 or 3 semesters in Frankfurt since the beginning, and so we have many courses at Dauphine in English and some French courses, and so in Frankfurt it's in French, in German and English.
And what are the different classes that you follow? If you go back maybe in the 1st year when you arrive, what were the different classes that you had the opportunity to follow?
So there was also a large diversity of courses. It was economic and business, so macroeconomic, microeconomics, but also courses like financial accounting or finance, and some law studies and English and French courses also.
Ninon, I think you have a particularity. You're going to move to Amsterdam in Netherlands next year. Am I right?
Well, I'm going to candidate for that Erasmus Plus, but yeah, because even though we are in an international program for the first 2 years, the third year we still have the opportunity to take part in an Erasmus or Erasmus Plus program, which I think is pretty amazing.
Diego, I have a question for you. Is it easy to still feel like a Université Paris-Dauphine-PSL student even if you're abroad? And what is done to make you feel, okay, I'm in London, but I'm still at Université Paris-Dauphine-PSL?
I mean, since the diploma is the same and the courses are pretty similar to the ones you find in Paris, you find that you have quite a lot of common ground with the people who are in Paris. But then again, you also feel slightly different in the sense that you're part of a smaller campus, you live in a different city. So there's a bit of a wedge between the two. But I mean, since we have quite an open communication with the Paris campus, so for example, the president of the Paris campus comes every year to present the bachelors to the new students. We have some events which are organized with the people in Paris. The overall structure and the organization of the administration is pretty much quite linked to the one in Paris. So I mean, you feel that you are in Dauphine, although the international factor also comes in and quite literally differentiates you from other students because, well, you're in another country.
And Diego, how would you describe the pedagogy of the bachelor you're following? Is it like a lot of group project? Is it like a lot of big classes with a teacher talking alone? How is it like for you, the pedagogy?
I mean, it's quite varied. You get a lot of lessons directly from the lecturer who presents a topic for an hour and a half. But because the classes are so small, I mean, we're about 25 to 35 per class. We get a lot of interaction time, so that can be through group presentations, through group works, through group essays, through just discussions or debates that you can find in class. It's really dependent on the module itself and on the lecturer and what they plan for that particular lesson. But I mean, you find that there's quite a lot of difference in the ways you work, and especially since everyone gets to know everyone, so it's very easy to work in a group, but it's also sometimes just listening to the lecturer.
And you, Larissa, how would you describe the pedagogy of your bachelor? Is it similar as the experience Diego is talking about, or is it quite different?
So actually in Frankfurt, there are more people. So we are like 100 to 600 people. So there are less lectures and you don't really have many group projects. So there's a possibility to take seminars where you are in small group, but the other lectures, you have one final exam at the end. So it's a different kind of organization.
And for you, Ninon, how would you describe the way the pedagogy is done in Madrid? Do you have a lot of group of projects in group, or is it more like academical? How would you describe the pedagogy in Madrid?
We have a bit of both. We have magistral classes and then group works. It really depends on the professor and what he plans or she plans for the class. But something I really like is that in Madrid we're only 35 per year, and so even in normal classes where it's only the teacher talking, the class are always very interactive, which is always nice and makes the class and the lesson usually more interesting.
And you know, you have had now the opportunity to follow plenty of classes. From all the classes of the courses that you have already followed, what would be your favorite theme? What would be the favorite class that you had?
Well, surprisingly, because I did not expect it when I first arrived, it was computer science. I found really interesting. and particularly because you could understand how like the teacher made really an effort to link computer science with what we were doing in macroeconomics and microeconomics to see how firms used those little programs that we were writing.
And does it have give you the will to study more computer science and to maybe have a master's degree mixing economy and computer science?
Well, I still don't know exactly what I want to do in my third year, but it certainly has opened that option for me when I really didn't think it was an option for me.
And we're now going to talk about the admission process to get into Université Paris-Dauphine PSL. What are first, Sébastien Damar, the different conditions? What background do you require for the students?
Well, the first one is about mathematics. Especially for the bachelor in mathematics and computer science, of course, but also for the other bachelors. Especially, we want to be sure that our students have a very high level in mathematics, and especially because a lot of the disciplines that we need to become what I have called the open-minded decision maker needs to require to be taught in quantitative disciplines. Of course, statistics, for example. So that means the first part of my answer is about mathematics. We do not have any prerequisite in English, especially for the Parisian campus. But of course, you guessed that for the English campus, we have this, of course. The foreign students, if they want to be admitted to the Paris-Dauphine PSL University, they have to, if they are outside of the European Union, they have to follow the procedures that is called Études en France, of course, and this is the same procedure for the London campus and for the Parisian campus. The admission for the Tunisian campus is a bit different. It's not connected to the Études en France admission process.
Okay, so they can find all the information, I guess, on the website.
Yes.
What are you going to watch to look at concretely in the different admission files that you are going to have? What are you looking for in the different files of the future students?
Well, we want to welcome students that are that have this kind of appetite for the effort and for work. We have to be honest and to be very transparent on the cursus in Dauphine. It is a very ambitious cursus. We ask a lot to our students. We want them to work a lot, to participate to a lot of group works. We want them to be sure that they will be at the maximum of their effort level. So that means we just especially have a look to students who demonstrate that they have a strong motivation. And of course, that means a lot of our students are excellent students before their baccalaureate, for example. Of course, a lot of our students in France have the mention très bien at the baccalaureate, the French baccalaureate. So that's something which is a clue that shows that the students are especially good at work.
And are you waiting from them to already have a good view on what they want to do after they graduate and the professional sector they want to work in, or is it possible to go and to study at Dauphine without knowing at first what they want to do?
Well, my answer is yes and no. Yeah, it's difficult to ask students that are 18 years old to be very clear about their professional project, to be very clear about thinking about what they will be in something like 10 years. So of course, we admit that students have sometimes a fuzzy vision of this professional project, of course. But at the same time, we want to be sure that the students have a clear vision of what Dauphine is, a clear vision of what Dauphine will bring to them, and especially how Dauphine will contribute to give them the skills they need to become critical and very open-minded decision makers. We want to be sure that they know very clearly what Dauphine will bring in terms of ability to solve very complex problems, for example.
Larissa, what was your background in terms of grades when you were a student, and how did your application process go?
Yes, so I actually had a German high school diploma and no French diploma, but nevertheless, the application process went over the same platform, which is called Parcoursup, and it's a French platform where you have to write a letter of motivation and give your diploma.
And you have to write, for instance, an admission letter, a letter to explain what you want to cover later, or why you want to join the school. What did you put inside?
It's actually very important to point out your interest for the French-German cooperation and why you want to do a double degree in a French and German context, and also a little bit about your project if you already know for the future, but it's especially about the German-French cooperation.
Diego, Sébastien just told us that the math level is very important to join Université Paris-Dauphine-PSL. Was it right for you? What was your math level when you were in high school?
So I always got pretty good grades in maths. I mean, I was generally a star student in maths, and yeah, I mean, it wasn't something that I necessarily enjoyed the most at school, but it's something I've been good at, and it's quite important during the bachelors. So, I mean, you obviously need quite a high level of maths to be able to join with all the statistics modules, the arithmetic and algebra modules. You have quite a lot of things that you need maths for, so it's quite an important factor, yeah.
And what would be, Diego, your advice in order to have a successful admission process? What would you advise the follower, the people watching us today to do?
So I'm going to speak for the London campus only, because I mean, that's the only one which I really know about. I would actually say if anyone does side applications, so for example, I applied through UCAS as well for UK universities, to actually base any recommendation letter or any motivation letter off of what you do for UCAS. Because, I mean, generally the university is going to look at your grades, obviously, but everyone has pretty much the same grades when they apply. So they're going to want to look more at what makes you interesting as a person. So if you have any involvement in societies, if you have any charity work you did, any sports, any art, any music that you do on the side, that's more likely the things that they're going to want to look at and the things that are going to interest them overall. So it's the things I would put forward if I had to do an application over again, I'd say.
And Ninon, did you already have ideas about what you want to do in the future when you were applying? Were you able to say, okay, I want to study at Université Paris-Dauphine-PSL because I want to work as a mathematician and to work in insurance companies? Or was it kind of complicated for you to project yourself in the professional world?
For me, it was a bit complicated. So obviously, I knew of Université Paris-Dauphine-PSL before applying, and I didn't really believe that I would get in because my high school is not especially renowned for being a good high school, and yeah, loads of other factors that I didn't really believe. So it was more of I'm applying it, we'll see if I get in. But I know that other people in my class, it was just their dream to get in, and they could see, and they had already their, like, they knew what they wanted to, where they wanted to go with that bachelor, exactly.
we are now going to talk about the student life. It's really important when people are looking for a school. They want to know how their life will be on the different campuses. For Dauphine, how is the life in the different campuses that you have?
Well, we were talking about the DNA of the university. Our university, it's another part of the DNA. It's all about the association and the community life in Dauphine. This is an extremely important student integration factor, and especially international students, of course. In Paris, we have about 40 clubs or associations, and they participate to sport, to the artistic and cultural life, of course. There are also 70 clubs, which are clubs connected to the different programs, training programs, and these 70 associations or clubs, they participate to the networking of students. They organize events in which the students have the possibility to meet their future colleagues in a way. So this is something very important. On the Parisian campus, we have something like 1,500 students that are involved in these clubs or associations. So this is something in which we believe. On the London campus, we have also 17 active clubs or associations. So it's also something we find in the other campus. The focus we give to this to this part of the student life, and there also it's completely. I think it's one component of our training philosophy. Because we want to train experts and open-minded decision makers, we have to be coherent, and we want to train them in the programs, in the courses, of course, in the interaction with the teachers and the professionals. But of course, we have to learn students to be part of the social life, to be part of, well, society.
Organize project, manage people.
And they acquire some soft skills by doing this. They have to coordinate with others. They have to build projects. They have to stimulate, to encourage they have to manage project. And this is a way for us, for them to be taught on our skills.
And we know that when we are young, it's sometimes difficult to go to another country to start a new life without the parents. How do you help your students with their stay, or they settle in France or in London or in the other places where it's possible to study? How do you help them concretely?
Well, clubs and associations are part of the solution, well, of the answer to the question, of course. We also have the possibility to tutor some students, a system of mentoring of international students with French students. So that's a way to answer the question, saying, okay, the best way to give some help to international students that sometimes feel a bit disconnected from their country and their family and so on. That's a way for us to say, okay, you are disconnected from your country, but you are connected to another life, and we are there, just behind you, just close to you, and to help you, to give you some help. We also have some psychologists working with us. If students have difficulties, mental difficulties, we have built one very interesting program in Dauphine, which is called DPAS, which is a program dedicated to help we can give, psychological help we can give to students, well, international students and French students. This help is sometimes in English. So that's something that could help the students to be happy, even if they are far from their family and their home.
Larissa, how is it like to be a student at Dauphine in Frankfurt?
So in Frankfurt, we are like Erasmus students. So there are some events organized for Erasmus students, and so, but they are, yeah, but so it's more like an Erasmus experience, and that's pretty cool to get to know other international people, but also at the same time, we get to know German students.
And you told us earlier that you are like 20 in the program, so you're like a little family together.
Yes, that's true. So we are moving together to Frankfurt, and that's really cool because we are 20 people. We already know each other, and so me, for example, I'm living together with 3 friends that I know from Paris, and so we can spend a lot of time together at Frankfurt in Frankfurt.
Do you, Larissa, feel at the same time integrated and part of the university where you're staying at in Frankfurt?
Yes. Nevertheless, I also feel part of the Goethe University, but also of Dauphine.
Nino, is it the same for you? Is it like a small class, or is there more people in your bachelor, in your program?
Well, we're a bit more. We're 35 in second year, and they are 34, or 34, I believe, in first year. So we all get along really well, and we're like a big family, but also the links between the first year and the second year are really strong. We have a whole godmother kind of, for me, godmother, godfather for the boys, of course, kind of thing, which makes it really, we're all really unified, and I really like this. And we also have the opportunity to be part of some clubs of the Carlos Tercero, which means that we can get in contact with Spanish students and international students, which I really like.
There is a real mix between the different nationalities and between the different programs. Can you describe, Diego, a typical day that you have in your campus in London? How does it look like to study at London?
So, I mean, there's no usual day because we have quite a few. We don't have much contact hours on campus, so the days are quite different depending on the lecturers and their availability. I'd say in general, you spend 3 to 4 hours a day, sometimes more, sometimes less, on campus with lectures. You'd end up working a bit more before or afterwards on whatever the lecturer told you to work on. But I mean, at the moment, we're doing all the interviews for the societies, so that's something that's quite common in our days at the moment. I mean, it's quite a big mix between the lectures themselves, the work you put on the side, any work you want to do for societies. And I mean, you choose pretty much however you want to do that on a day, depending on the time you have and depending on the lectures that are available that day.
There is another important subject, the integration to the professional world. What are the links between Dauphine and the professional world?
Well, this connection is very deep. The professional integration of our students is excellent, I could say. It's not it's not just an image. Concretely, to be very concrete, on average, at the end of their studies, Dauphine students take 2 weeks to find a job, no more. Of course, this is something which is largely due to the recognized quality of our training and our programs, of course. But it is also because our students are completely accompanied throughout their course in terms of professional integration. For instance, we organize some conferences about jobs, about different sectors. We organize some workshops to prepare them for the interview to find a job. There are some possibilities to have some coaches to help them in this kind of activity. We organize some meetings, and the clubs. We were talking about just a few minutes ago, the clubs organize some meetings with professionals and some future colleagues belonging and working in the different sectors that have an interest for the students. So that means we have a kind of infrastructure which is completely dedicated to the help we can give to students to find a job more easily. And moreover, we have some strong partnerships, global partnerships with large-size companies, for example. I could talk about Mazars, Carrefour, BNP Paribas, Société Générale, for example. And of course, this is something which is an opportunity for our students, especially because these companies come at Dauphine, teach in some of our programs to the students, and of course we also have the possibility to get some job opportunities from these partners. We have a career center on which we send these job opportunities offered to the students.
And you also have a large alumni network.
Yeah.
How can it help also the students for their professional integration?
Well, we have 100,000 alumni throughout the world. We have some chapters which are disseminated all around the world, and some of these chapters are really involved in the professional integration of our students. I could just mention the London chapters, for example. And sometimes the London campus organize some events that are completely sponsored or supported by this chapter. So the connection is there. The students that are former students at Dauphine, they are there to help the students to find jobs, to network.
And in which sectors is it possible to work after Dauphine?
Well, almost 9 out of 10 students on average will find a job in a private company, and the sector mainly it's about finance, it's about banking, it's about consulting companies for approximately 1 student out of 2.
We were just talking with Sébastien about the different job opportunities that you can have after graduating. For you, Ninon, for instance, how do you project yourself? Do you already know what you want to do after the Bachelor?
Well, yeah, after the Bachelor, I want to do a master, that is for sure, and then maybe a thesis, but I'm not really sure yet if I want to get into a PhD, but at least a master, and if it's in Dauphine, it's in Paris-Dauphine, excuse me, it's even better.
You're talking about PhD because it's an opportunity that you can have at Dauphine after graduating from a master. It's because you want to go more into the research field, into the teaching field, or it's just to have a more qualification for the private world?
Well, personally, yeah, I'm really interested in researching. That's for now my goal, but maybe it would change over the next few years.
So it can change, and it will be really great. Diego, for you, what is next steps? What are the next steps? You told us earlier that maybe you're going to stay in the London campus for the 3rd year, and after that, in which bachelor do you think you're going to stay?
Well, honestly, I haven't made up my mind yet. I mean, the year is just starting, so I'm looking at all the opportunities, all the lectures I have, and trying to see what's interesting to my eyes. It's for the 3rd year after this one. It's most likely going to be an exchange program because Dauphine offers quite a lot of those. So whether it be in London or in another country, I'm going to have to look into that more deeply. And then following on from that, I mean, probably a master's, but I wouldn't be sure what subject I'd like to study yet. I'm still hesitating between finance, which is quite the logical step up from the econ bachelor, and probably a legal degree, if that's something that I find interesting in my second year, because we're studying quite a lot of new legal modules. So I'm going to see.
And you, Larissa, what would be your dream job? What would be your dream master?
So actually, when I integrated Dauphine, I didn't really know what I wanted to do later, but we already had the possibility to do an internship during after our first year, and now I'm working. I am as an auditor during my third year, because we have the possibility to work and study at the same time during the third year. So this really helped me integrating the work, and so I guess I will join a master program, maybe at Dauphine, financial accounting or finance, but maybe I will go back to Germany. I haven't decided yet.
We're now reaching the end of this live session, but just before leaving the people watching us, what would you like to say to conclude? What would be your last advice for the future students of Université Paris-Dauphine? PSL?
Well, maybe saying that we are now confronting to very challenging issues about sustainable development, for example, and we need some experts, we need some decision makers that are completely open-minded. There is one thing which is important at Dauphine. We want to be sure that our students will be open-minded students. So that means we want to favor multidisciplinary approach to solve problems. So if you are a student, you want to solve these issues, you want to solve these challenging issues, you come in Paris-Dauphine.
Thanks a lot, Sébastien and Damar, for having been with us today. Thanks to Larissa, Ninon, and Diego, who are also with us today. And thanks to you for having watched us. If you want to have more information about Université Paris-Dauphine PSL, you can visit the website of the university, dauphine.psl.eu. You can keep on asking your questions on the chat section. The people from the university are going to answer all of them. See you soon on Campus France Live.